From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, World Bank says Nigeria's infrastructure needs to gulp $3 trillion to meet infrastructure deficit. Court orders Attorney General of the Federation Independent National Electoral Commission to halt prosecution of suspended Adamawa Resident Electoral Commissioner Yunusa Ari. Sangaya School in Adamawa State pleads for support following tragic fire incident. And on the foreign scene, Spain Coast Guard rescues 86 people during search for missing Senegal migrant boat. These are the headlines on Trust News Hour tonight. I am Eugenia Abu. The World Bank says meeting Nigeria's infrastructure needs will require $3 trillion by 2050, which in prevailing dollar exchange rate will take Nigeria some 300 years to provide a minimum level of infrastructure needed for accelerated development. The bank stated this in its 2022 Public Expenditure Review report as disclosed by the Nigeria Country Director, Africa Development Bank, at the 2023 Nigeria Employers Summit, themed Trade and Non-Oil Exports, Changing the Narrative for Rapid National Development. Noel Sampson was there and brings us that report.
With the discovery of crude oil in Nigeria, trade and non-oil exports suffered considerable neglect. Unfortunately, while Nigeria neglected its pre-independence economic mainstay, nations like Germany, Malaysia, Japan, China, Korea, and Taiwan, among others, ramped up their trade and non-oil exports, leading to their significant economic growth and stability. This, among others, was one of the focus areas of the summit.
This summit offers a unique opportunity for us to be able to expand the employment net, and that's what we stand for in NECA. We want to make sure that as much as possible, our youths no longer leave the shore of this country. If they have what to do here, they will not leave.
If you look at what is happening today in Nigeria, if there's anything we need, it's non-oil export. And like we usually said, or our campaign in NEPC, in Nigeria Export Promotion Council, that we have to wake up. This is the time to wake up and imbibe what we call a non-oil export culture, because that's the only way we're going to survive as a nation.
For us, it becomes very, very important, not only as an organization, but for us also, it's an enlightened self-interest for us to get government to refocus its attention to trade and non-oil exports, so that we can also augment the much-needed forex from trade and non-oil exports for the betterment of all of us.
Stakeholders believe that changing the narrative in the level of infrastructure in Nigeria requires the country to mobilize the private sector for improved service delivery.
Nigeria should mobilize the private sector for infrastructure development and service delivery. Will also help reduce fiscal burden. And in this regard, I cannot overemphasize the urgency to prioritize energy sector investments.
The world trade environment becomes more competitive, and nations become more nationalistic in their trade relations. It is important for us to look inwards and give priority to the maximization of our productive capacity and leverage on our comparative and competitive advantages.
Considering that the crude oil generates about 90% of Nigeria's foreign exchange earning, which has been so for decades, this data provides an interesting perspective to not only the country's capacity to improve its foreign exchange earnings through non-oil exports, but also to improve the Nigerian economy in general. Also, given the above statistics, the vital role of the private sector in Nigeria's economic development cannot be overemphasized.
Economic diversification is a key element of economic development in which a country moves to a more diverse production and trade structure. A lack of economic diversification is often associated with increased vulnerability to external shocks that can undermine prospects of long-term economic growth. Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Justice Donatus Okoronkwo of the Federal High Court, Abuja, has ordered the prosecution of the suspended resident electoral commissioner in Adamawa State, Hudu Yunusa Ari, to be halted. The Attorney General of the Federation and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, were issued the order in light of Yunusa Ari's early declaration of Senator Aishatu Binani Dahiru as the winner of the Adamawa governorship election held on April the 15th. Justice Okoronkwo gave the order following an ex parte application brought by counsel to Dahiru, Michael Ondoka. The court held that since the matter is before a tribunal and the parties have submitted to the law, the parties should maintain status quo on the matter pending the conclusion of the suit. At the mention of the suit, counsel to the applicant brought before the court two applications, namely a motion seeking to interpret Section 144 of the Electoral Act 2022 and an order seeking to maintain status quo on the matter pending the determination of the suit. Senator Dahiru had earlier filed a suit before a sister court presided over by Justice Inyang Ekwo. The case was, however, dismissed following a notice of discontinuance filed by the applicants. In the meantime, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has tendered documents before the Governorship Petition Tribunal, sitting in Kaduna. The documents presented before the tribunal on Wednesday by INEC include Form EC 8A, EC 8B, and EC 8C of polling units of 9 local government areas in Kaduna State. The local governments include Birnin-Gwari, Igabi, Zaria, Sabongari, and Kaduna North. Others are Kaduna South, Kubau, Lere, and Kudan local government areas. Councils to INEC, Ubasani, and APC all raise objections to the admissibility of the documents tendered in court, and that they would be filing their objections to the admissibility of the documents in their respective written addresses. Councils to the PDP and the APC addressed journalists shortly after the court session, even as the tribunal adjourned sitting to Tuesday.
Summarily, the matter was adjourned to today for further presentation of documents. You know, the arrangements here at the tribunal, all documents, the way it was scheduled, all documents will be tendered, and then before you begin to call witnesses. So I think it commenced sometime last week, and then it was adjourned again today for further presentation of documents for adoption, which were done largely today, even though we're not able to conclude them today because of some issues that arose.
Well, our argument is that what ordinarily should come before the tribunal as certified true copy of public documents. And the reason is very clear. When the document is a public document, everyone else other than the parties before the tribunal here will be entitled to have certified true copy when they apply and pay the necessary fees. Okay? But since there's issued a subpoena for them to bring them, and they have brought them, but there's nothing we can do but to follow the order of the tribunal, because the subpoena is in the class of an order.
And still staying with court matters, the federal government has filed an 8-count charge against former Minister of Aviation Stella Odua at a federal high court in Abuja, accusing her of falsely claiming to have lost her National Youth Service Corps NYSC certificate, among other allegations. The charge was filed on June 26, 2023, according to court documents. This comes amidst controversy over alleged falsified documents claiming the former Anambra North senator completed the mandatory one-year program. In one of the counts, the government said Odua's action contravened Section 3(6) of the Miscellaneous Offences Act, Cap M17 of the revised edition Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2007, and punishable under Section 3(1)(c) of the same act. In another count, the federal government alleged that Stella Odua forwarded a false affidavit and extract from police crime diary stating that she lost her NYSC certificate, adding that this led to her nomination as a cabinet minister and thereby committed an offence contrary to Section 39(2)(a) and punishable under Section 39(2)(b) of the same Act. Despite widespread speculation about the fate of the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, state chairmen of the party have reaffirmed their confidence in its leadership. The APC national chairman met on Monday with state chairmen of the party at the APC Secretariat in Abuja to discuss developments in the party a few days after he met state governors. The meeting may have been called by the National Working Committee of the APC to quell welling discontent within the ruling party. Senator Adamu informed the state chairman that the NEC meeting was postponed due to the absence of President Tinubu, who traveled out of Nigeria for the 63rd ordinary session of the Authority of Heads of State and Governments of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. Speaking on behalf of a forum of APC state chairman, Cross River State APC, Alphonsus Oga, said the state chapters of the party had been asked to consult with their respective governors or relevant stakeholders in non-APC states to recommend nominees for federal appointments to the president.
If Nigerians stand up to support the party the way they have done, for us to get the kind of results we are all talking about, a lot has been expected from us as a party. You know, from our manifesto, it's clear we made promises, and it behoves on us to see whatever we can do to ensure that we deliver on our promises.
This is a moment where rumors and blackmail can thrive. But as a party, there is only one APC. And we came again in solidarity to say we are strongly behind our national chairman and the National Working Committee. It's complete rumor, because whatever you may have heard about board membership, those letters were addressed to the state chairman. And every state chairman is loyal to his governor. And where there are no governors, they are worthy and very loyal to the stakeholders of that state. There is no such crisis. In fact, we must commend Mr. President for playing to his promise of saying that state chairmen should be captains of this ship. And I can assure you that letters were addressed to us.
Niger State Governor Muhammad Umar Bago has directed the dissolution of all statutory commissions, boards and parastatals and the termination of all political appointees appointed before May 29th this year. A statement issued by Secretary to the State Government, Abubakar Usman, disclosed that Governor Umar Bago ordered the dissolution and termination of appointments with immediate effect. Usman further explained that commissions, boards and parastatals that are tenured or not tenured are also affected by the dissolution and urged concerned officials to comply immediately with the directive. While recognizing their positive contributions to the development of the state and the affairs of their office, the SSG directed those affected by the dissolution to hand over all government property, including official vehicles in their possession, to the most senior director in their respective organizations. Lawal Tanko, information officer in the SSG's office, who signed the statement, said the governor wished members of the dissolved commissions, boards, parastatals and political appointees success in their future endeavors. The Sokoto State Governor, Dr. Ahmed Aliyu, has set up a commission of inquiry to investigate some of the activities of his predecessor. The commission is saddled with the responsibilities of examining all land allocations and government properties sold by the administration of Aminu Waziri Tambuwal. The commission was set up in line with the powers conferred on the governor by Section 1, Subsection 2 of the Commission of Inquiry Law, Cap 33 Laws of Sokoto State, 1996. Press Secretary to the Governor, Abubakar Bawa, explained that the committee would be led by the retired Justice M.A. Pindiga, with Nasiru Mohammed Binji serving as Secretary of the Commission. Other members of the committee include Jacob Ochidi, SAN, Usman Abubakar, and Lema Sambo Wali. The committee would, among others, investigate all land allocations and assets sold or auctioned under the administration of Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal.
His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Sokoto State, Dr. Ahmed Ali Sokoto, has approved the constitution of the Commission of Inquiry into the auction of government's assets, land syndication, and other related matters, sales and auctions of government houses by the immediate past administration. The setting up of the Commission of Inquiry is in pursuance of the powers conferred on the Governor by Section 1-2 of the Commission of Inquiry Law, Cap 33 of Sokoto State, 1996. The Commission has membership as follows: Honorable Justice M.A. Pindiga, retired, Chairman; Chief Jacob E. Ochidi, SAN, Member; Alhaji Usman Abubakar, Member; Lema Sambawani, Esquire, Member; and Nasir Mohammed Biji, Esquire, as Secretary.
And now to security matters. Troops of Operation Safe Haven, OPSH, have recovered 5 fabricated AK-47 rifles and live ammunition from residents of some communities in Mangu local government area of Plateau State. The spokesperson of the operation, Captain James Oya, disclosed this in a statement on Monday in Jos. Oya said that the commander of the operation, Major General Abdul Salam Abubakar, led troops to carry out the operation, adding that the commander had temporarily relocated the OPSH base from Jos to Mangu following the recent killings at Sabongari community of the area. The spokesperson explained that the military, alongside other security personnel, had been deployed to the affected communities while normalcy was being restored to the area. The Plateau State government had, following the recent crisis on Sunday, declared a 24-hour curfew in Mangu. No fewer than 8 persons, including an 8-month-old baby, were killed in Farin Lamba community of Vuang district of Jos South local government area of Plateau State. This incident is coming 2 days after an attack was launched in Sabongari community of Mangu local government area, where many lives were reportedly lost and houses burned. According to the National Publicity Secretary of Birom Youth Molders, Ruang Tengwang, the attackers arrived the community at about 9:45 p.m. of Sunday when many members of the community were sleeping, adding that they came in a Vectra vehicle and started shooting sporadically at the victims who were heading home after the day's activities. But the leadership of Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, MACBAN, in the state denied that allegation, adding that the group wasn't aware of any attack in the area. The Plateau State Police Command is yet to issue a statement on the attack. Following the wave of attacks by gunmen that resulted in the deaths of several individuals in the Mangu local government area of Plateau State, the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, has announced that the permanent orientation camp in Mangu will, for the time being, no longer serve as a venue for the orientation course for prospective Corps members. A statement from the Director of Press and Public Relations, Eddie Megwa, noted that camping exercise will temporarily take place at Waye Foundation. The new venue is located by Bukeng Academy, Doidu, in Jos South local government area of Plateau State, and has been designated as the interim NYSC orientation camp. Eddie Megwa said all prospective Corps members are by this information expected to report at the new orientation camp on the dates specified in their call-up letters. The Adamawa State Police Command has arrested 4 suspects in connection with cattle rustling and kidnapping in the state. This was contained in a press release by the Police Public Relations Officer, Superintendent Suleiman Ngoroje, on Monday. According to the statement, the command has recovered 2 AK-47 rifles, 73 cows, 346 sheep, 2 magazines loaded with 13 rounds of live ammunition, and other items. The statement said the arrests were made by operatives of the Adamawa Police Command attached to Gombe Divisional Police Headquarters in collaboration with the crack squad and members of the Hunters Group. It also explained that the suspects identified as Dahiru Bashir, Tukur Salisu, Mohammed Bello and Babangida Ibrahim were apprehended while on their way to deliver the rustled cattle to their receivers. The statement added that it was during interrogation that the suspects confessed to participating in cattle rustling and kidnapping activities in various areas of the state, including Zumo, Maigero villages in Song local government area, part of Gombe, Maiha local government areas, and Cameroon Republic. In the meantime, the Bauchi State Police Command says its operatives have killed 2 suspected bandits terrorizing Ningi local government area and an informant during a raid on their hideouts. The newly posted Commissioner of Police in the state, Awal Mohammed, gave the update on Monday during his maiden press briefing at the police headquarters in the state. Musa said security personnel have been mobilized to affected communities while the police continue to remain on alert. He, however, did not disclose when the operation took place and the number of those arrested. Speaking on the notorious Sarasuka group that has also been terrorizing residents in the state, the Commissioner of Police said all hands are on deck to curtail their nefarious activities. Mohammed promised that the police will continue to maintain and strengthen collaborative partnership with sister security agencies and community stakeholders to ensure community security and to proactively deal with emerging security threats to the state. You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break, we take a look at challenges in deciphering doctors' handwriting. Details of the story and others to come after the break. Do stay. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is News Hour on Trust TV, a recap of our top stories. World Bank says Nigeria's infrastructure needs to gulp $3 trillion to meet infrastructure deficit. And court orders Attorney General of the Federation, Independent National Electoral Commission to halt prosecution of suspended Adamawa resident electoral commissioner Yunusa Ari. Moving to other stories now. 3 pupils of Sangaya School, popularly known as Almajirai, were killed, while 8 others sustained various degrees of injuries as a result of a fire that engulfed their thatched apartments. Following the tragic incident, the chief teacher of the school, Modibo Usman, is calling for support for the Almajiri system of education. Salis Lawan has that report.
The sad incident occurred around 11:45 Saturday night at Shagari, Sabompegi, Bole, Yoldepati ward of Yola South local government area. According to the chief teacher of the Sangaya school, one of the victims who was burned to death by the fire, Ismail Mohammed, came to his thatched apartment asking for matches to light their mosquito coil.
Mosquito coil
I was about to sleep when I heard my neighbor shouting fire, fire, fire. Then all of us came out to put out the fire, not knowing the victims were still under the thatched apartment. After the fire was extinguished, we started looking for them, but unfortunately, they were dead. Sangaya pupils who normally come from far in search of Islamic knowledge are usually crammed in thatched houses that do not encourage any form of academic exercise.
The government is being consistent with its policies. Such tragedies will not be occurring. If you recall, during the administration of former President Goodluck Jonathan, he have inaugurated a project of Almajiri education system through the Universal Basic Education Board or Commission, where the Almajiri system is being integrated into our basic education system, and the government provides structures and all resources needed for the integration and upgrading of the Almajiri system of education.
The 3 victims, Mustafa Ahmadu, Yusuf Abubakar, and Ismail Mohammed, who were killed in the incident, have since been buried according to Islamic injunctions, while those who sustained injuries are still receiving medical attention. Salis Lawan, Trust TV News, Yola.
A truly tragic story. In the meantime, the Ministry of Health has urged Nigerians to make conscious effort to avoid contracting diphtheria, a disease the ministry says everyone is at risk of being infected with. The Ministry's Health Promotion Department on Monday issued a health advisory asking Nigerians to be cautious and protect themselves. The department stated that the disease, a life-threatening infection caused by bacteria, is easily transmitted from person to person through coughing, sneezing, and contact with open sore, blisters, and wounds on the skin. The ministry's advisory therefore cautioned that everyone is at risk of getting infected with diphtheria, especially children under 5 years and adults above 60 years. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, had since December 2022 reported multiple diphtheria outbreaks in different states across the country. However, as of June 30th, NCDC said it confirmed 798 diphtheria cases from 33 local government areas in 8 states of the Federation, including the FCT. The center added that so far, a total of 80 deaths were recorded from the confirmed cases. The Nasarawa State chapter of the Nigerian Medical Association, NMA, says it has suspended its 5-day warning strike and given the state government a 2-week ultimatum to address all its demands. Briefing newsmen shortly after its emergency congress in Lafia on Monday, the state chairman, Peter Atta, stated that they resolved to suspend the 5-day warning strike to ameliorate the sufferings on the masses and the citizens of the state. The association had embarked on the strike action following the inability of the state government to implement their promotions for some of its members for up to 9 years and annual increment for over 12 years for all doctors in the state.
That they can't afford to pay to cover or to spend 89 million naira to better the lot of their healthcare service delivery. Then the second one is the non-implementation of promotion to our member, of which some of our members have worked with the state government up to 9 years and they've not been promoted. And then for over 12 years now, no annual increment has actually been given to any of our members working with the national state government. But because of the warning strike that we needed to draw the attention of the public, and we have suspended it today, the Congress also, starting from 8 o'clock this morning, that we should extend the last ultimatum that we have given to the government by 2 weeks, in which this window of opportunity, it is expected that the national state government will look into it and implement it. All what we are asking for, what we are actually asking the government to do is as simple as anything, and we feel it's within the comfort of the government.
And from health matters, we go to gender equality. Journalists and media organizations have been urged to change the narratives and public perceptions around women. Beatrice Eyong, the United Nations Women Country Representative to Nigeria and ECOWAS, stressed the importance of media in changing the women narratives in order to achieve gender equality and women development for sustainable development goals. Abbas Dalibi now reports.
Eyong speaks during Report Her Awards in Lagos. Report Her Awards, a gender-balanced reportage award, is an initiative of Women Radio in partnership with Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism with the support from UN Women and Canadian government. Beatrice Eyong emphasized the role of journalists and media organizations for women development in Nigeria and Africa as whole.
Our main issue is the fact that we have about 50% of our people not being able to participate in development. And this actually is one of the reasons we have feminization of poverty, feminization of morbidity, feminization of mortality, and the non-achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. The media can make or mar. The media has the power and capacity to change the perception, the way people look at women, the way people treat women, the way women are appointed. It can stem from the way the media is reporting about women.
Chuan Okewale Sonaya, Chief Executive Officer of Women Radio, commended journalists and media professionals for their works and also demand accountability towards making Nigeria a gender-sensitive country.
With your dedication to shaping narratives, challenging norms, and demanding accountability, you help make Nigeria a wonderful and good place for women. We thank you, the media. Each story told shaped the narratives and created an impact on female reportage. We recognize your invaluable contributions to journalism, to women's inclusion, and to the development of our dear nation, Nigeria.
Also, the Director General Nigerian Broadcasting Commission, Balarabe Ilela, said the commission is passionate about gender balance in reportage.
For us at the NBC, this is an impressive and commendable initiation that will spur broadcasters to take the call for inclusive and gender-balanced reportage. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen that are here, you are aware that the NBC is at forefront of protecting the dignity of women as provided in various places in the Nigeria Broadcasting Code, particularly Section 310. We believe women must be empowered to be part of all decisions and developmental process of our dear nation. Therefore, this initiation of reward to reward journalists who will excel in gender-balanced coverage is a welcome development.
Winners of different categories were awarded and celebrated as journalists and media organizations are urged to do more in promoting women-related stories in Nigeria. Abbas Ibrahim Talibi, Trust TV, Lagos.
Congratulations to all winners. It is common in society today to find patients or others seeking medical attention facing the challenge of deciphering doctors' prescriptions or handwritten reports due to the unusual handwriting skills of medical professionals. This has caused consternation among members of the public who are eager to understand the content of their prescription notes or diagnosis. Jonathan Nawaya, in this report, seeks to find out why doctors' writings are always difficult to decipher. Here's that report.
Doctors are some of the most sought after and respected professionals in the society due to the nature of their jobs, which involves saving lives. With this in mind, many expected them to be as straightforward, clear and unambiguous as possible to enable patients have total confidence in them. However, it is most times worrisome to see doctors' handwriting as something as kindergarten may have scribed, as only people in their field are more often than not able to decipher what they write. In Asaba, residents who have been reacting to ineligibility of doctors' writing even preferred solutions.
Very bad because they only write what pharmacists can understand. For example, if they write paracetamol, you only see the P and the L at the ending. And they're writing it so that you don't go and buy it somewhere else.
This that will give you drug can misunderstand this handwriting and give you something else. In a place where they said they should give you paracetamol, they will give you something else. They would think it's another thing. And maybe the dosage, you might even take overdose. With that, it will lead to complications.
It's not confusing because with nurses, we also understand it. Like where nurses, the patient, they are not understanding.
That's handwriting. I'm sure it has developed from a certain notion of the physician, as a creature of many possibilities.
For the doctors, there are reasons for writing the way they write.
If the doctor is prescribing to health personnel that understands what he's trying to write, either he's using formulas to represent medications, and he's writing so that the other person who happens to be a health personnel will understand what he has written.
The truth must be said, no doctor will write deliberately his prescriptions in order that others should not read it. Because it could also pose a problem. When the doctor's writing is not legible, even the pharmacists suffer to decode whatever has been written. And if a wrong prescription is given because of the doctor's not writing clearly, the doctor could be held liable. So no doctor does that deliberately.
Whatever is worth doing, they say, is worth doing well. Hence, many are of the view that doctors should try to improve on the legibility of their writing. Jonathan Awaye, Trust TV News, Asaba.
Thank you, Jonathan, for throwing light on an issue that has bothered a lot of people. The governor of Anambra State, Chukwuma Soludo, has directed that Mesoma Joy Ejikeme be handed over to the State Guidance Counselor for counseling following her admission of faking her Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination UTME result. This was disclosed in a statement signed by the Public Relations Officer of the Anambra State Ministry of Education, Nameka Egwonwu. He stated that in a letter to the principal of Anglican Girls Secondary School, Newi, Governor Soludo further directed the immediate commencement of psychological counseling and therapy sessions for Mesoma. The governor, in the letter signed by the Commissioner for Education, Ngozi Chumaude, also directed that Mesoma be handed over to a professor of clinical psychology. The directive is in line with one of the recommendations of the committee set up by the Anambra State government to investigate the matter following the parading of the fake results, which elicited interest and generated controversy and misgivings to the general public. You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. We take a break now. When we return, more stories.
How do they come to Nigeria? They have to come through Niger Republic.
Welcome to News Hour on Trust TV.
The Coalition of Northern Group, CNG,
Petition followed consultations and meetings.
Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust TV. I am
Where do they get what? How do they survive?
Kidnapping is just an extension of catch rustling.
Thank you for rejoining us. The Nigerian Customs Service says the new Customs Excise Management Act 2022, assented to by former President Muhammadu Buhari, will improve revenue generation, security, promote trade facilitation, prevent smuggling activities, and implement stiffer punishments for violators. Trust TV correspondent Chamun Dabeng reports that the Nigerian Customs Service also plans to review their processes in ports and border areas that may have become obstacles to trade. Here's her report.
According to the Acting Comptroller General of the Nigerian Customs Service, Bashir Adeni, the NCS has had a long-standing need to review the SEMA Act to fit the country's present-day needs, as well as deal with security and trade challenges the country faces today. The new SEMA Act is designed to introduce user-friendly technology which will boost revenue generation.
Between that time and now, 1958, a lot of things have changed, in the way we conduct our business. The dynamics, the volume of international trade has changed tremendously. Technology has come to revolutionize the way we do things, and the customs space is not exempted. So we need a stronger legislative framework. We need a framework that is more adaptable, that is more flexible, that allows us to infuse technological solutions, innovations into our operations.
Adeni, who spoke on Monday on the sidelines of a sensitization workshop, says that in order to deter criminal activities, the SEMA Act now provides stiffer punishments for violators.
We discovered that the previous legislation did not provide sanctions that are punitive enough for violations of customs laws. Some of the fines were ridiculous. What this law has brought are very, very heavy punitive sanctions that should deter people from committing those violations against the customs law.
While speaking on border security, the acting CG emphasized the need for effective collaboration with other stakeholders for optimum performance.
We are all going to be stakeholders involved in this business. It's not just going to be the work of customs alone. So this was why I said collaboration, very, very active collaboration with all those that are involved. So our farmers are going to be our stakeholders. We are going to rely a lot on intelligence that we get from them. We're going to work with them because we know that when we protect them, we are protecting the Nigerian economy.
The Nigerian Customs Service says it will continue to sensitize the public on the law surrounding the SEMA Act and emphasize the need for personal study and understanding. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
In the meantime, Nigerian car dealers are calling on the federal government to further implement healthier reforms that will ensure that they remain in business. They made the call while speaking with Trust TV in Lagos. Victoria Tokolo, who visited the car dealers, brings us more in this report. Her report is presented from our studios.
The appeal from car dealers is coming amid soaring prices worsened by the floating of the dollar and the removal of fuel subsidy in the country. As part of addressing these challenges, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu recently ordered the suspension of vehicle import tax across the 36 states of the Federation, including the FCT. Laudable as the policy is, it is yet to start yielding results as car dealers continue to lament the dwindling state of car importation in Nigeria. Although most car dealers and clearing agents are too angered to speak on camera, Anthony Ike, a car dealer, says for the past 8 months, he has not imported more than 2 cars, adding that within the last 1 month, they have only sold 1 to 2 vehicles. He added that cars that were being sold for 1.5 million naira now go for 4 million naira, while those that were hitherto sold for 15 million naira are now being sold for 28 million naira.
Years back, I do import 50 to 100 cars. But with the policies on ground, it's not encouraging. We have cars here that are sitting down for 2 years, 3 years, we have not been able to sell. And government is imposing heavy tax day by day, year by year. It's not good for the masses. We are not really in business. We are just, when the day breaks, whatever you see, you take it as you see it. You understand? So the policy is not too nice for us, those of us in this business.
Frank Okenwa, a car dealer in Ikeja, lamented that with tariffs increasing on a daily basis and the price of vehicles on a sustained upward trend, it has become very difficult for them to stay in business because patronage has drastically been reduced.
The challenge are, paying the tariffs. It's expensive, it's high. Let the government look into it and bring down the tariffs, because this is where the challenges are. And also the dollar. There the prices are constant, but here it keeps fluctuating, and so generally that is why the business is not favorable to us, because the money you used to buy a car you sold yesterday, you have to add more money to buy another one tomorrow. So it's not too good for the business.
They, however, urged the federal government to address the challenges associated with car importation in order to ensure that the sector remains afloat.
West African leaders have restated their commitment to the entrenchment of democratic system of government as a prerequisite for sustainable economic development. A communique on Sunday at the end of the 63rd session of the Authority of Heads of State and Governments of the Economic Community of West African States established a link between maintenance of peace and security and harmonious coexistence and socio-economic development of the region. Kainde Omodu reports.
Tough words from the new ECOWAS chairman sets the tone for agreements reached during the one-day summit of West African leaders.
We work collectively to pursue inclusive economic integration of West Africa, sub-region. We should serve a warning to exploiters that our people have suffered enough.
There are real concerns about the speed of implementation of transition processes in Mali, Burkina Faso, and the Republic of Guinea.
The authority particularly underscored its disapproval or its displeasure at what appears to be lack of collaboration on the part of the transitional authorities, as exemplified by the inability of the 3 mediators to visit these countries before the summit.
Aside from democracy, the ECOWAS leaders are very concerned about the rate of insecurity in West Africa, which seems to be worsening.
On the fight against terrorism, the heads of state expressed serious concern about the worsening security situation in the region, occasioned by the recurrence and expansion of activities of terrorist groups and their humanitarian consequences. They reiterated collective commitment towards the eradication of terrorism and violent extremism. In particular, the authority strongly urges for the operationalization of the regional standby force urgently.
The summit also discussed progress being made in the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, the ECOWAS Single Currency Program, and the report on obstacles to free movement of goods on the Abidjan-Lagos corridor. Reviewing the president's participation at the ECOWAS summit in Guinea-Bissau, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
On the international scene, the Spanish Coast Guard has rescued 86 people from a migrant boat that went missing more than a week ago. The vessel is said to have been 70 nautical miles, approximately 130 kilometers southwest of the Canary Islands, and was carrying people from sub-Saharan Africa. The Coast Guard was assisted by a container ship. Both vessels are now heading towards Gran Canaria Island. 2 similar boats carrying dozens more people are said to be still missing. There are few details about them. Walking Borders, a migrant aid group, told the BBC that one had about 65 people on board, while the other up to 60. They are thought to have left Senegal on the 23rd of June, 4 days before the larger vessel. Those rescued include 80 men and 6 women. It is not clear whether all those who had been on board have been rescued. Time now to join Adeni Ajishafe for more sports update.
Nigeria defeated Ghana to lift women's trophy at African Under-21 Nations Volleyball Championship Zone 3 in Niamey, Niger Republic. Team Nigeria went through the entire tournament without dropping a single set to be crowned champions while beating hosts Niger and Benin Republic, with Ghana twice in the mix. Nigeria Under-21 women's volleyball coach Rekia Mohammed expressed happiness over the victory of the team.
I told them that Ghana played us first, and the second round that we are meeting is going to be difficult. So they are going to push, so we should push more than the first time we played them, and that's what exactly what the girls did. Both in defense, in attack, in blocks, and in service, Nigerian girls were. I'm the happiest coach on earth today, because this is the first time Nigeria is picking a trophy in the underage championship. So I feel so happy. The Ghanaians came all out to play the Nigerian team, but the girls showed them that Kachino be leather. That's how we played, and we defeated them. We've lifted the trophy, and we are taking it back to Nigeria. And also qualifying now, we have qualified for the World Championship in Thailand.
With this victory, Nigeria has qualified for World Volleyball Championship in Thailand. And in wrestling, Nigeria Wrestling Federation contingents at Spanish Grand Prix in Madrid put up an impressive performance, winning 2 gold and bronze medals as part of Wrestling Federation's preparations towards a successful outing in 2024 Olympic Games in Paris, France. Olympic silver medalist Blessing Obrodudu defeated Katrina Lange of USA in the 68kg category in a 10-0 point to win bronze, while Mercy Genesis and Esther Kolaole gave a good account of themselves, picking gold medals, beating Ashlyn Ortega of USA 7-0 point and Jacqueline Molokana of Ecuador 15-2 point in the finals of 62 and 50 kilogram category, respectively. While appreciating the wrestlers, President, Nigerian Wrestling Federation, Daniel Igali, lauded the efforts of the trio, noting that wrestling is becoming one of Nigeria's best hope to win medals at the Olympics. Champion Igali insists there is room for improvement, commending the effort of Mercy Genesis, Blessing Obrodudu and Esther Kolaole, who competed for Team Nigeria at the second edition of African Beach Games in Hammamet, Tunisia, winning 3 gold medals. The Olympic champion says Spanish Grand Prix is a good platform for athletes to get ready for World Championships coming up in September in Serbia. Nigerian wrestling contingent will compete in Hungary before competing at annual Governor Diri National Wrestling Classics in Yenagoa from 1st to 8 August 2023. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Aji-Shafe.
Nigerians shining everywhere across the world. Congratulations to Coach Rikia Mohammed's team. And with that, we have come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV tonight. Do follow us on all our social media platforms. I am Eugenia Abu on behalf of the team. We thank you for joining us.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.